Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the internet, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an awesome honor and privilege to have you guys joining me here today as we talk about our favorite things, movies, and today is a special day. You know, we are now officially halfway through, well, a day or two more than halfway through now, the year of 2018, and the front half of the year has been a great front half of the year for film already. But you know, a lot of times, by the time we get to the end of a year, that's when a lot of the big Oscar contender films come out, and we tend to not give enough credit to the films that came out in the first half of the year. So I thought that what we do is have a mid-year awards here. I'm calling it the Filthies. We're going to have our own little mid-year award show here, and that's today. We're called Filthies. Now, here's how it's going to go. We have got ocho categories that we're going to go through. And here's what normally happens. Now, normally when I do like end of the year awards and things like that, I tell you my nominees and then I just tell you my winner. This year, we're going to do it a little bit differently. So what we're going to do is I have put together a poll, an online poll that you guys are going to vote on. Now, my vote, I'm still going to get a vote, but instead of my vote counting for 100% of the vote, my vote is going to count for 15%. The other 85% of the vote is going to come from you guys casting your votes. So I have reduced my thing from 100% down to 15, and you guys get 85% of the say. I get 15% of the say. We're going to average it all out, and we're going to announce our winners tomorrow. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through the 8 categories, look at the nominees, and then you guys will have a chance to go and vote. I've got the link to the poll in the video description below. Don't go to it yet. Let's go through the categories first, and then sometime today you click on that link, go and you cast your votes, and then tomorrow we will announce our winners. So just today we're just celebrating all the great stuff in the year of film so far. All right, you with me? And then we're going to take some live questions at the end. Do me a favor, guys, try to focus your live questions and comments on the categories, the nominees, which ones do you think should win? Make your argument for it. Maybe point out some people or some things that you thought were left out. Focus your stuff on that for the live questions, because I want to hear what you guys have to say. It'll be your one chance to get your voice heard and try to influence all the other viewers about where they should be casting their votes for our mid-year awards, okay? So, I know the studio heads of every major movie studio are anxiously watching this to see if their movie wins a Filthy. Not at all. But, all right. So the first category we're going to go to here today, guys, is a great one. We're going to start in the category of supporting actors and actresses and lead actors and actresses. Now, let me point out something. In these 4 categories, you're going to notice there are some performers that get nominated that are in movies that I didn't even like. But you know, to me, it's all the more impressive when an actor's performance really stands out, even in a movie I don't like. So don't be surprised if you see an actor or two in a movie that's, but wait a minute, John, I heard you didn't like that movie. Maybe, but that doesn't mean the performer wasn't great. So anyway, let's get on with it and start in the category of Best Supporting Actress. And our nominees in the category of Best Supporting Actress are Anne Hathaway in Ocean's 8 steals that movie. She's amazing. Everybody who sees that movie, even people who just were kind of mediocre on it, loved her in it. Millicent Simmons, oh my God, how good was this girl? Denai Guerrera, how amazing. She practically stole most of the scenes she was in Black Panther. Sharon Horgan is an actress from Game Night who is not going to get enough credit. I watched that movie a couple times, and she is definitely a supporting member in it, but she is so good in that movie. I believe she deserved recognition. And our second nominee from Black Panther is Letitia Wright. For a lot of people, the little sister of T'Challa was one of the big scene stealers in Black Panther, one of the biggest movies of the year. So there you go. Once again, our nominees for Best Supporting Actress are Anne Hathaway, Millicent Simmons, Denai Guerrera, Sharon Horgan, Letitia Wright. And now it's up to you guys to go vote. I'll tell you right now, I've got my vote narrowed down to 3, and I'm not sure which one I'm voting for yet. I'm just being straight. I'm not going to tell you which one of the 3. I'm not going to tell you the 3 that I've narrowed it down to, but I honestly don't know which one I'm going to go with. It's a tight category. All right, let's move on to the second category. And of course, we're going into the category of Best Supporting Actor. And in this category, we've got also from Black Panther, Michael B. Jordan, everybody buzzing about Killmonger coming out of that. Also from A Quiet Place, Noah Jupe. You know, just like Millicent if these kids don't completely sell you on this movie doesn't work. But what these kids were able to do with their performance sucks you into the movie. It was unbelievable. And that's why you see both Millicent and Noah both nominated in these categories. We move on. Joel Edgerton for Red Sparrow. This is one of those performances that I was talking about where I didn't even like Red Sparrow that much, to be honest with you. But Joel Edgerton is fantastic in it. So I'm giving some recognition here to Joel Edgerton. Robert Downey Jr. in Avengers Infinity War. You know, everybody's talking about Thanos in Avengers Infinity War. Granted, I thought this may have been Tony Stark's, or really, sorry, Robert Downey Jr.'s best performance as Tony Stark. I really do. And I think because of all the stuff that happens in Infinity War, I think he's getting overlooked. So yes, nominated for Best Supporting Actor here is Robert Downey Jr. And also from Game Night, Jesse Plemons. Oh my God, this guy was so good in that movie. It's nuts. Again, smaller supporting character, but one of those characters that everybody came out of the theater just kind of buzzing about his character just because of how well he played it. Okay, so once again, our nominees for Best Supporting Actor are Michael B. Jordan from Black Panther, Noah Jupe from A Quiet Place, Joel Edgerton from Red Sparrow, Robert Downey Jr. from Avengers Infinity War, and Jesse Plemons from Game Night. All right, with that now down, let's move on to the next category of Best Lead Actress. And it's a good field. And we get things started in Best Lead Actress with Emily Blunt from A Quiet Place. I mean, look, we could just sit here and talk all day about how great the cast is in A Quiet Place. Emily Blunt, absolutely one of the powerhouses in there. Toni Collette from Hereditary. Storied, awesome career of Toni Collette. May just be the best performance she's ever given in Hereditary. Lupita Nyong'o in Black Panther. She was fantastic. Natalie Portman, another movie that I didn't even like all that much. I'll be honest, I know a lot of people really liked Annihilation. I was not all that big on Annihilation myself, but Natalie Portman carried that film. She was extraordinary in it, like really, really good. And Storm Reid, again, from A Wrinkle in Time, I didn't even like A Wrinkle in Time. I didn't think A Wrinkle in Time was a good movie. And yet, I was completely magnetized to Storm Reid. Like, she was wonderful in that movie. It's a shame that the movie wasn't very good. It's a shame that they couldn't build a good story around her. But the performance she gave in the movie was outstanding, and she completely deserves to be nominated here. So, once again, the nominees for Best Lead Actress are Emily Blunt from A Quiet Place, Toni Collette from Hereditary, Lupita Nyong'o from Black Panther, Natalie Portman from Annihilation, and Storm Reid from A Wrinkle in Time. All right, so now let's move on to our final acting category. And the final acting category is, of course, Best Lead Actor. We might have some surprises on here. We're going to start off with Joaquin Phoenix in You Were Never Really Here. I know a lot of you, Joaquin's not going to get a whole ton of votes here because I know not a whole ton of you guys have seen the movie. Stellar. Absolutely stellar. This dude, there's something completely unbalanced in this dude's head that he can play these characters like this. And it's one of the reasons when you watch this, your enthusiasm level for the potential of Joaquin Phoenix playing a Joker in a standalone Joker movie will go through the roof. Because there's clearly a screw or two loose in this guy's head, but it enables him to give some incredible performances. All right, John Krasinski in A Quiet Place. It's all four actors from A Quiet Place take Best Lead, Best Lead Actor, Best Lead Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress. They all show up in there and well-deserved. John Krasinski for A Quiet Place. You know what? I've always believed that given the right performance, a CGI motion capture performance incorporating movements and gestures and voice should be considered. And you know what? To me, this will be a controversial pick, I know, but to me, Thanos was clearly the main character of Avengers Infinity War, and Josh Brolin was the lead actor of that movie. And I thought his performance, second best performance in a comic book movie ever, only next to Heath Ledger's The Joker. So yeah, I unapologetically put Josh Brolin's performance as Thanos in Infinity War. Next up, Nick Robinson from Love, Simon. The great thing about Love, Simon is just the depth of the humanity to it. And Nick, being our central character, he brings you into that movie. He's the one who relates all that like the shared human experiences. And that's where this movie works on so many levels. And I give a lot of credit to that because of Nick's performance. Well done. Totally deserves being nominated here. And rounding out our Best Actor category, Chadwick Boseman, of course, playing T'Challa in Black Panther. Such a revelation. So many people just were completely drawn to him in this role. So once again, our nominees for Best Actor are Joaquin Phoenix for You Were Never Really Here, John Krasinski for A Quiet Place, Josh Brolin for Avengers Infinity War, Nick Robinson for Love, Simon, and Chadwick Boseman for Black Panther. All right, guys. Now we get into some of the subcategories here. We're moving into our fifth topic now, and I believe in having a category for Best Comedy. Hasn't been the strongest half year for comedy, but there have been a couple of gems. So let's take a look at our nominees. Our nominees for Best Comedy are Tag, and now with AMC A-List out, a lot of you guys are using that card to go see. I'm getting emails, literally messages and emails from you guys every day about more of you now saying, I'm going to go see Tag now. I've got my AMC A-List or I got my whatever card now, and now I'm going to go see Tag. People are going to see Tag. Really nice little comedy. Also nominated Blockers. Next up, Game Night. Next up, Deadpool 2, which, hey, it's a comedy, so it belongs in this category. You're going to see Deadpool 2 in a couple of categories, but it definitely qualified as a comedy. Also, Incredibles 2. Again, it'll fall under several categories, but it's definitely a comedy. I know which one I'm voting for here. I'm going to be voting for Game Night. I'm probably going to be voting for Game Night. I just think there's something, that is just a great, to me, it's the best comedy of the year so far, but it's tight. I mean, Deadpool 2, so freaking funny. Incredibles 2, so freaking funny. Tag, so charming. I'm probably not even considering casting my vote for Blockers. Like I said, it hasn't been the strongest, but I decided to put Blockers in there. Maybe some of you guys will give it your vote as well. But there we go. Our nominees for comedy, once again, are Tag, Blockers, Game Night, Deadpool 2, and Incredibles 2. So those are our nominees for Best Comedy. Now let's go on to another subcategory. We're talking Best Superhero Movie. Now there's only 4 nominees because there's only really 4 worth mentioning. You're going to notice that Ant-Man and the Wasp isn't there. I've seen it, but it hasn't officially released, so it doesn't qualify for our mid-year awards. But let's look. You guys could probably already know what the 4 nominees are. But here you go. Our 4 nominees for Best Superhero Movie are Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Incredibles 2, and Deadpool 2. And you know what? This may surprise you. I have not decided myself personally which one I'm voting for yet, but I know it's not going to be Avengers Infinity War. And I love Avengers Infinity War, but I honestly think there's an argument for Deadpool 2 to beat it out. I think there's an argument for Black Panther certainly to beat it out. And I think there's an argument for Incredibles 2 to beat it out. I'm not even sure that Avengers Infinity War, as much as I like it and as great as it is, I'm not even sure it's the best MCU movie yet this year. But so I know a lot of you guys are going to be voting for Infinity War. That's great. I'm not sure which one I'm voting for, but I'm actually pretty sure it's not going to be Infinity War myself personally. But who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. All right. Now we move on to the next category. And the next category comes to us in Best Director. And some fantastic directing, just some terrific turns as director this year. Starting off with John Krasinski for A Quiet Place. Anthony and Joe Russo for Avengers Infinity War. You know what makes what they did even more impressive? When you consider, how overstuffed that movie is, with how many characters they kind of had to put in that movie, and how many things had to be going on. It was a very top-heavy movie. It took a special director, or directors in this case, to take that behemoth of a mess of how many characters, how many storylines, how many things, how many locations, blah, 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 and make something not just coherent, but enjoyable and flow and work. And I think what they did cannot be underestimated. The job that they did in that movie was terrific. May not be getting my vote, but you cannot underestimate how great of a job Joe and Anthony Russo did on Infinity War. Ryan Coogler for Black Panther. Lynn Ramsey for You Were Never Really Here, and Brad Bird for The Incredibles 2. And just a note about all, like, first of all, I'm spending some time talking about some, not talking about others. Absolutely, when you look at the stories that all these directors had to take on, and the way they crafted those stories, worked with their actors, navigated their flow and pace. Just seriously, you could get to the end of the year, and this right here, this is a mid-seasons award, but this right here is a list of 5 directors that could easily be nominated for Best Director at the end of the year. I mean, what these 5 individuals did in directing is absolutely outstanding. And I think I know who I'm going to vote for. I'm not going to reveal that, obviously, at this point, but yeah, there you go. All right, so now we move on to the final category. Of course, it's the granddaddy of the categories, Best Motion Picture. And here are your nominees for Best Motion Picture. A Quiet Place. The one that might surprise a lot of you, Paddington 2. This movie is just basically perfection. Avengers Infinity War. Won't You Be My Neighbor? And Incredibles 2. Look, it was tough coming up with a nominee list this year. It was tough because no matter what 5 I put in, there's going to be solid arguments for films that got left out. But I feel good about this list. This is my nomination list. These are what I consider to be maybe the 5 best overall films this year. But anyway, here you go again. Your nominees are A Quiet Place, Paddington 2, Avengers Infinity War, Won't You Be My Neighbor, and Incredibles 2. All right, so let's just run down all 8 categories one more time before you guys run out and do your voting. For Best Supporting Actress, Anne Hathaway from Ocean's 8, Millicent Simmons from A Quiet Place, Denai Guerrera from Black Panther, Sharon Horgan from Game Night, and Letitia Wright from Black Panther. In the category of Best Supporting Actor, Michael B. Jordan for Black Panther, Noah Jupe from A Quiet Place, Joel Edgerton from Red Sparrow, Robert Downey Jr. from Avengers Infinity War, and Jesse Plemons from Game Night. Under the category of Best Lead Actress, we've got Emily Blunt from A Quiet Place, Toni Collette from Hereditary, Lupita Nyong'o from Black Panther, Natalie Portman from Annihilation, and Storm Reed from A Wrinkle in Time. Next, in the category of Best Actor, Joaquin Phoenix from You Were Never Really Here, John Krasinski from A Quiet Place, Josh Brolin from Avengers Infinity War, Nick Robinson from Love, Simon, and Chadwick Boseman from Black Panther. In the category of Best Comedy, Tag, Blockers, Game Night, Deadpool 2, and Incredibles 2. Under the category of Best Superhero Movie, we've got Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Incredibles 2, and Deadpool 2. In the category of Best Director, we got John Krasinski for A Quiet Place, Anthony and Joe Russo for Avengers Infinity War, Ryan Coogler for Black Panther, Lynn Ramsey for You Were Never Really Here, and Brad Bird for Incredibles 2, and of course, the big category here, Best Movie mid-year so far in 2018, our nominees are A Quiet Place, Paddington 2, Avengers Infinity War, Won't You Be My Neighbor, and Incredibles 2. And there you have it, guys. Those are your nominees for the Filthies, the Mid-Year Awards 2018. What I need you guys to do now is down in the description of this video, in the video description below, at the bottom of it, you're going to find the link that you're going to click on and go and cast your vote. I'm going to take all those votes, then I'm going to take my votes, and we're going to average them out. 85% of the weight is going to go to your guys' votes, 15% of the weight is going to go to my vote, and we're going to announce the winners on tomorrow's The John Campea Show. Really, look, the front end of the years in movies are usually, obviously weaker. This has been a terrific front half of 2018 when you do, we never even mentioned some other fantastic films that came out this year, like a Ready Player One and many others. There's so many great films that came out in the first half of 2018, and you got to narrow it down. So we narrowed it down there. Now, I'm sure you guys have some things to say about the nominees and things like that. So we're going to jump over to the live questions and see what you guys have. Now, just going to let you know, I'm going to focus more of our attention on the live questions that are about the nominees, other films that maybe got left out, things like that, making your case. I'm going to probably just go, I'm still going to answer any other questions you guys send in, but I'm going to go through them a little bit more quickly. So let's bring up the first question here. Andrew Oldham writes, saw your Won't You Be My Neighbor chat video. I'm convinced that Thanos would have failed if he encountered Fred Rogers. See, here's the thing, I'm convinced of this. If Thanos had come to Earth and Mr. Rogers had been there, biggest badass in the history of American culture, by the way, Mr. Rogers. Had he been there, Thanos would have showed up all mad. Fred Rogers would have went up to him and put his hand on his shoulder and just would have said, Thanos, I bet you're feeling kind of angry right now. Maybe a little sad. about the fact that your planet. Yeah. And maybe you're kind of angry at them that they died and you didn't want them to die. Yeah. And you kind of feel that maybe it's your fault. Maybe you're a little mad at yourself thinking it was you. Yeah. Well, Thanos, I love you the way you are. It's not your fault. And it's okay to be mad. And it's okay to be scared. And Thanos would have broken down into a teary mess and taken the Infinity Gauntlet off. And it just would have been over like that. All these people saying, oh, if Captain Marvel had been, screw Captain Marvel. Fred Rogers would have stopped Thanos dead in his tracks, man. Fred Rogers would have stopped Thanos dead in his tracks. All right, let's move on here. Isaac Uzetta writes, thoughts on a Star is Born trailer. Hey, yeah, look, I've talked about the Star is Born trailer a number of times. Very impressed with it. Really impressed. I don't know if the movie's going to be any good or bad, but it was a great trailer. And the job of a trailer is to take your expectation level from wherever it is and raise it up a few notches. The trailer for Star is Born definitely did that. Let's see here. Where'd I go? Daniel Fitzpatrick writes, how do you wait for a movie? Ant-Man and the Wasp is August 3rd here. Will your shows be safe to watch spoiler-wise? Oh, my shows are always safe to watch spoilers. I don't allow open spoiler discussion until the movie comes out on home video. And if I ever do need to get into spoiler stuff, I will give you a spoiler warning. Like I will say, hey guys, just so you know, going to give away a big thing about Ant-Man and the Wasp here. You might want to tune out. So I always try to be very, very, very careful. Ben Rayner writes, I could eat a peach for hours. Great line from Face Off. So many things I love about Face Off. Ben Hayusa writes, so I've seen the First Man trailer the first time last night and must say I'm looking forward to the movie, and even showed my mom and she felt the same way. Cool to see all these movies with my mom. You know, and we're talking about awards. You know this is going to be, First Man is going to be one of these movies that gets mentioned at the Academy Awards. I mean, we haven't seen the movie yet. Maybe it'll suck, but it's being directed by Damien Chazelle. The last couple of his movies have won a lot of Academy Awards. You got some grade A talent in there with Claire Foy, Ryan Gosling, great supporting cast as well. You just know, and the trailer, you're right. It's a great trailer. It takes your expectation level up. I mean, like, there was nothing unexpected in the First Man trailer. Nothing that would surprise you or anything like that, but it was a really solid trailer, and it did increase my anticipation level. Sid Vicious writes, how powerless are movie stars / actresses? It feels like they are puppets in the hands of studio executives, directors, agents. I thought actors had all the power. Nope. I've been trying to tell people that for years. They have the appearance that they are the ones in charge. They have all the power, and they don't. And from a professional point of view, they shouldn't. They are actors. They have a role. Actors have a role and a job to play. But really, even the biggest movie stars are at the whims of what the movie executives want to put them in or don't want to put them in. Like, it doesn't matter how big of a movie star, like if all the studios decided we don't want to put The Rock in our movies anymore, The Rock's not a big movie star anymore. It's just that simple. A lot of the power. Now, unfortunately, we're getting a lot of stories in the news over the last year or so about people abusing that power. But strictly on, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about on a strictly professional level. Yeah, I mean, the actors are the actors. They have a role to play, but they are lower down the totem pole than a lot of other people, like big agencies and studio executives and things. They're the ones with the control and power. They're the ones who run the movie business. And that's kind of the way it should be. I mean, really, that's not the popular thing to say, but it's true. Again, we're not talking about the abuse of that power stuff. We're talking about strictly about the professional stuff of it. Murray Wright writes, sweet Christmas. No kidding. LeBron coming to LA. We talked about that yesterday. Ben Kenobi's asking, are you going to have a show tomorrow? Yes, tomorrow is the 4th of July. But I'm not taking the day off because I'm Canadian. So I will be doing a show tomorrow. Yes, there will be a 4th of July show tomorrow. Chris Miner writes, worst movie of the year so far? I don't know. I'd have to sit down, Chris, and actually look at the list and kind of go through it. So I can't pull that off the top of my head. Zombitron 5678 says, having to pick between Okoye and Shuri is so hard. No kidding. I mean, and I'm not even sure I'm voting for either one of those. But I feel very comfortable that both of them, Denai and Letitia, completely deserve to be on the list. They completely deserve to be on the nomination list. And again, I'm not even sure I'm voting for either one of them. And if I do, I'm not sure which one of them I'd vote for. It's tough. It's absolutely a tough one. Steve the Mixologist writes, hey, John, been a fan of yours since 2013. Oh, thanks so much, Steve. I just wanted to thank you. When I was homeless and jobless, I watched your videos every day, and it gave me a sense of normality every morning. You're amazing. Oh, thanks so much, man. And you know what? It's the film fan community. Having a community that I get to be a part of, having a film fan community that we can just be a part of and share. You're right. It gives us that oasis. It gives us a breath. It gives us a way to just kind of take a breath and put life in perspective. And I'm glad that the film fan community and me being able to be a part of it, I'm really glad the film fan community was able to be there for you in that way. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Steve, the mixologist, for sharing that. Let's see. Andrew Oldham writes, Millie Shapiro in Hereditary could have bumped one supporting actress up. I struggled with that one. Here we go. Like Hathaway. Oh, no. Not bumping Hathaway. No way. Not a chance. Only in for about half an hour, but Shapiro's presence. No, she was wonderful. Absolutely. And that, I'm telling you, there are a couple of these categories that I struggled with a number of names not putting, like, how do I not put this person on the list? But, you know, it is what it is, no matter what the list ended up being. But you're right. No, but bumping Hathaway, not a chance. Not a chance. I have to assume, Andrew, you didn't see Ocean's 8. Because Hathaway steals that movie. She's so good in that movie. It's crazy. She's actually better than the movie deserves. And I liked Ocean's 8. I do. I liked it. It's not great, but I liked it. But she's better than the movie deserves in it. So there's no way that Anne Hathaway was getting knocked off that list. There's just no way. But you make a really good point. Believe me, Millie was one of the names that I struggled with. Absolutely. Tully got snubbed. You know, Tully was another one because you're talking about Charlize Theron. You're talking about Mackenzie Davis. You're talking about Jason Reitman for Best Director. All three of those I looked at. I did. And it pained me. Like I remember like last night as I was finalizing the lists, looking at it, I was like, I can't believe I don't have like Tully represented in any category. But I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it is what it is, but I feel your pain, man. I totally feel your pain. Manuel Fernandez writes, let me help you with the worst movie. 50 Shades Freed. 50 Shades Freed would certainly be a big major contender. Actually, I don't know how it's not. I don't know how 50 Shades Freed wouldn't be the worst. I mean, it's one of the worst films of all time. It's just laughably bad. But it is what it is. Okay. Technovine writes, tight picks, Infinity War versus Deadpool 2 versus Incredibles 2 versus Black Panther, all great. I'm telling you, I think that's going to be a tight race. I think that is going to be a tight race. Because I could totally make an argument for any four of those getting the win. I could make a solid argument for Infinity War being named best superhero movie of the first half of 2018. I could make a total argument for Deadpool 2 being the best one. I could make a total argument for Incredibles 2 being the best one. And obviously there are arguments to be made for Black Panther being the best one. Oh my God, it's a Sophie's choice. In many ways, it is a Sophie's choice there. So that's what it is. Okay, guys, that's it. It is now up to you guys. Jump down into the description of this video. You will see a link. You've got 20 hours. 22 hours maybe. 20 hours. You got 20 hours because I'm going to need a few time to put the results together. But you got about 20 hours to go in and cast your votes. Tomorrow, amongst all the other movie news, we're going to use one of our segments to announce the winners of everything. So you take your best shot. Again, just quickly putting up the categories here. You guys can see who your options are. It is tough. This is a wonderful list of nominees, wonderful list of movies and performances that we got this year so far. The first half of 2018 has actually been really, really strong. And considering, looking at how strong the first half has been, it just makes me look forward even more to what's coming in the second half of 2018 as well. Okay, guys, that will do it for me for today for this installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, we didn't have an open mic yesterday. I was out of the studio and that couldn't be helped, and I couldn't be back here for the show, but we will have open mic. It returns again today at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you come on back and join us for open mic, and we'll talk about everything. You want to talk about some of these nominees? You want to talk about the awards? You want to talk about anything else at all? Open mic is the place to do that. Come back and join us at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Thanks so much for joining me. My name's John Campea, and until the next video, bye-bye.